Hi, I'm Todd Summar, and this story is called The Dark Parts. Timothy locks the front door of his dad's oddities shop and turns to Ryan. Are you sure you want to come with me? Don't feel like you have to. It's cool. Ryan hoists his backpack onto his shoulders. This is the most Ryan has spoken all night, and Timothy can't remember the last time he saw Ryan smile. Maybe never. Definitely not since Ryan's mom died a year ago. Timothy feels like he's won the lottery, but he keeps it in check and gives Ryan a quick nod. Timothy parks his dad's SUV a block from the house, and the boys stroll in silence down the wooded street, randomly bumping shoulders. Timothy glances at Ryan when it happens, but only sees Ryan's pale face bouncing in the darkness, a mask of sorts. His eyes are hidden in pools of shadow, but Timothy can feel his attention, like a charge between them. The house lies at the end of a gravel driveway, hidden from the road by a corridor of shaggy evergreens. The air is still, and the moonless sky blacks out the landscape. How long has this place been empty? Ryan's voice drops as they get closer. A decade, maybe? Timothy's made a hobby out of exploring abandoned places, but he never had the courage to hit up the old Bishop house before tonight. Some kid OD'd in the living room a few years ago. They didn't find the corpse till a week later. Charming, Ryan says. What? It's true. They sneak in through the open sliding glass door in the back, and their shoes crunch a trail of broken glass across the hardwood floor. As Timothy nears the staircase, the plank beneath his foot sags and he almost falls backward. Ryan catches him. Careful. Let's go upstairs, Timothy whispers. Ryan narrows his eyes. Sounds like a bad idea. The bedrooms on the second floor are small and depressing. Timothy finds a narrow hallway that intersects with the landing in a T-shape. When he aims his flashlight, he's surprised to see how far it extends. All blank white walls, no doors except one at the very end. Come on! He waves Ryan over, knowing he'd never dare to do this alone. The door opens to a large empty room, swimming in dust and reeking of damp decay. Red carpeting, spotted with holes and stains, covers the floor. Jesus, Ryan plugs his nose. He crosses the room and looks out the lone window. Light creeps in from somewhere. Maybe the moon showed up after all. Timothy scans the walls with his flashlight. No closet, no other doors or windows. Why are you so obsessed with abandoned places? Ryan asks, still facing the window. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm looking for something. He turns off the light and steps closer to Ryan. Why are you running away? What do you mean? Your backpack is more stuffed than usual. Graduation was just on Friday. What's the hurry? Ryan turns to face him. My mom was my age when she emigrated from China. My dad and I don't speak. He just kicked me out, actually, this morning. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Why didn't you say something? Ryan raises his hand. I don't have any reason to stay, he says, except... Heart thumping, Timothy moves closer. If he's ever going to do it, now's the time. Now, in the dark, maybe he can get away with it. He thinks he can find Ryan's lips. He moves close enough to feel the warmth of Ryan's breath. Something scratches inside the ceiling right above them. Mice, maybe? Timothy tries to ignore it, reaching out to find Ryan's hand. A noise like cracking plaster sends a chill up Timothy's neck. He notices a reflection in the dark parts of Ryan's eyes. After a second, he can see that Ryan is looking up, frozen. Timothy follows his gaze. A human-shaped ink stain blooms across the ceiling, reaches down, and swipes at Timothy's face. An ear-splitting screech fills his head, ringing in his ears, muting his senses. His heel sinks through the carpeting behind him, like stepping into a fuzzy puddle. He folds back, his hamstrings burning, body twisting, an envelope of rotten carpet sealing him inside a soft tomb. He suffocates, digs his fingernails into what feels like fur or dirt or flesh. His skull cracks something so hard he blacks out for a few disjointed seconds. He breaks out of his cocoon and looks up at the splintered ceiling. He has fallen to the first floor. Then he is running outside, and the cool night air feels as if it's peeling off a layer of his skin. He crumples to the road in front of the SUV and hears that screech again, louder and more desperate. No, it's him. The noise is coming from him. He looks down at the thing clutched tightly in his arms, Ryan's backpack. 3 nights later, Timothy crouches at the foot of his bed. He sits close enough to his second-floor window above the oddities shop to see the sidewalk below and the street light at the corner. Footsteps echo any time someone approaches. Whenever he hears a sound, he snaps up, hoping it's Ryan. The police searched the house and never found him. The doctors said Timothy was lucky to walk away from the fall with only a few cuts and bruises. No concussion, no broken bones. Lucky, a miracle. Timothy lied to the cops and pretended the backpack was his. He knew they wouldn't find Ryan, but he hoped that by keeping something that belonged to him, it would draw him back like a magnet. Magical thinking. Timothy opens the bag and roams his fingers inside for the 100th time. He pulls out the photo, encased in a plastic drugstore frame. A woman in her 30s, smiling, black hair parted in the middle. Her eyes are vulnerable but kind. Ryan's eyes. He finds something else under the wad of Ryan's clothes and pulls it out, a tattered paperback of We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Timothy gave it to Ryan last Christmas, right as his crush became real. He slips it back into the bag. Timothy closes his window and lowers his blinds. He dozes off minutes after his head hits the pillow, the photo of Ryan's mom still in his hand. At first, it's the tapping that teases him awake. Like drops of water from a leaky faucet, its insistence nudges the corners of his blank dreams. Then it's the scratching, like those scratching mice in the ceiling of the Bishop house. He jerks up, the photo tumbling from his hand and hitting the floor. He scoots over to the window and pulls open the blinds. Ryan stares at him from the other side of the glass. His eyes are pale marbles, his skin like wax stretched across impeccable cheekbones. He resembles a beautiful artifact from another world, preserved behind museum glass, and all Timothy wants to do is touch him. The urge is irresistible. "Go ahead," Ryan calls through the window. He's right, all Timothy has to do is open it. After he does, he asks Ryan, "Where have you been?" But it's a stupid question, because Ryan is hovering outside Timothy's bedroom, floating really, and it's quite clear where he's been, somewhere dark. "Did you come back for your bag?" Another stupid question. "I came back for you." "Oh," Timothy is filled with butterflies. It feels wrong, but he can't help it. "There's so much to see." Ryan's breath is shallow and doesn't form a cloud like it should. "Ryan, I'm sorry about what happened. It was my fault. I saw my mom." Ryan smiles, revealing broken, jagged teeth. He shivers and rubs his arms. Timothy thinks he should invite him in, wrap him in blankets, hold him, cover him in kisses. But he's seen enough movies and read enough books to know where that leads. "Why didn't you tell me how you felt about me?" The question jolts Timothy awake, more starkly than the sight of Ryan's undead face or his feet dangling in midair. You already knew. You must have known." Ryan nods. He reaches out his hand. "Can I kiss you?" Timothy melts. His palms are pressed against the frame, and his bruised knees are braced against the windowsill before he even feels it or realizes he's climbing out. He squints at Ryan. "Are you brainwashing me? Is this some kind of mind trick?" Ryan stretches his hand closer but doesn't answer. Timothy takes it and crawls out the window. Ryan's palm is soft but cold. His grip is firm. As he takes Timothy into his arms, Timothy realizes he doesn't want him to answer the question. "I think I found what you were looking for," Ryan whispers, "in all those abandoned places." His lips on Timothy's neck are surprisingly warm. There is no pain or fear, only a startling darkness lined with specks of hot light that fill Timothy's head. He squeezes Ryan's back with weightless arms and wants to agree with him that yes, this is what he was looking for, but he can no longer speak.